a lot of times poking fun at them because it's very obvious when stuff is fake. Okay,
Yeah.
It's very obvious, but it's entertaining. And even though there's not like a disclaimer about it being fake, we know going into it that's how it is. So
Right.
it's fun to watch. But this is one of the shows where I question it. I'm like, this feels legit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to save that for the Is It Real section of the show. But still, it's got some good stuff.
Some good stuff.
So you still have some more stuff to read, right?
I do.
What do you got for us?
Because I wasn't able to put enough stuff together, unfortunately, and because there are so many episodes to go through to make a story, this is going to be a little different. I found many interviews with Jack and Katrina, so I pulled some answers and statements about how they see, look, and feel about the paranormal and some of their experiences. Jack was asked, when you spend all of this time exploring the unexplained, is there ever a way to truly explain what you experience or find those answers that you're looking for? Jack said, quote, "Yes, there are. Katrina is the best at breaking this down. The way that this show came together, Katrina very much represents the lifelong excerpt, while I'm the enthusiast that's lucky to be in this position. Over the last 2 years, my theory on it is that there are 4 or 5 things that I think go on with hauntings. The first theory is that a lot of it, potentially, could be environmental toxification, with things like toxic mold and gas leaks. Over long-term exposure, people have weird reactions. Magic mushrooms are mold. So what's to say that some weird house mold can't cause you to hallucinate?
I'll be right back. I'm going to go eat some mold.
The second theory is that we are encountering some unknown energy that is eliciting psychological responses, whether it's hallucinations, auditory hallucinations, or whatever. For the most part, that's what I think is going on. Whatever the energy source is, it's been around for a very long time, and probably since the dawn of humanity. I don't think it's necessarily intelligent, but there's something to that. There are gamma rays, X-rays, and all of these rays around us, and we don't see them, but we're learning how to interact with them. So maybe there's a whole spectrum which we are not aware of. The third theory is that intelligent entities have the ability to travel interdimensionally, and because they are just in a different spectrum, we can't see them normally. Now, we start getting into some really far-out weirdness. The last option is residual, which you can think of as an energy echo of a traumatic event that occurred in a house, and that energy is captured there and bouncing around. I don't know if you've ever had a family member pass away, but if you go to a place that they frequented a lot, their energy feels familiar to that place, even though they might not be alive. And then the least likely option is that there is an intelligent spirit that has the ability to communicate with us. I think that isn't as common as people think." End quote. No matter what way you look at the paranormal, we truly don't know how or why it happens. In a separate interview with Jack and Katrina, they both talk about their jobs and what they do for a living. Jack says, quote, "Katrina and I are breaking down walls, literally. We have unprecedented access to a number of locations and are also the first team to ever investigate some of them for TV. They are incredibly active sites for the paranormal, and we're going all in to try and capture substantial evidence. I grew up watching paranormal shows, ghost hunting shows, all that genre, and I loved it. When I was a kid, any opportunity to go check out a haunted house or go do a seance or to do anything of that kind of dumb stuff, when you were a kid, I love. So for me, I kind of came into this as a fan of the genre and was given the opportunity." End quote. Katrina replies, quote, "Jack and I purposefully explore locations that embody the darker side of the paranormal, as we try to understand why certain places invoke more sinister activity than others. It's exciting to see what new discoveries we can make in the paranormal field. Yet, as we explore the unexplained, We can only presume to know what we're working with. At the end of the day, we really don't, and that's the scary part. I've tried to get out of the field before a couple of years ago, and it just pulls you back in. And now it's like, I'm so into that, I could never leave it, because now it's like it's almost a vendetta. It just really gets under your skin, and it gets into your blood. And I think once it's there, I don't know that you can ever rid yourself of it. I think people have always been interested in this, but it's always been such a taboo subject. So people don't talk about it, especially in America. You go to other countries, and it's not as taboo as a part of their history. It's a part of their culture, and America is very different. I think now, because of media being out there, people are saying, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. I can talk about it, and there's other people that have had experiences like me. When the big boom of the paranormal shows happened in the late 1990s to early 2000s, you saw all the groups popping up because they were finding other people that had the same interests, and they weren't alone anymore. End quote.
Back in the 1900s.
Dude, I almost said that.
I know. Ever since our daughter said that.
She's like, oh, you're from the 1900s, right?
It's all this sticks in my head.
What?
I can't help it.
Oh, God. So with season 3 of Portals to Hell premiering very, very soon.
Actually, the day after this comes out. Or the day before this comes out.
Like April 9th, 2022. It kind of felt fitting to add some of their thoughts on their upcoming new season. There's hell to pay, and Jack Osbourne and Katrina Weidman are on a mission to find out why. The intrepid paranormal investigators team up for an all-new season of Portals to Hell, as they are led to haunted locations where sinister spirits display a vendetta against anyone in their presence. There is no Casper or friendly ghosts here. The deeper the history, the deeper the haunting. Exploring the shadowy corners of Detroit's Eloise Psychiatric Hospital, the historic Savannah Theater, Staten Island, New York's Cheshire Mansion, Philadelphia Fort Mifflin, and the infamous Missouri State Penitentiary, among others, Jack and Katrina will confront disturbing activity and malevolent entities that have left those that cross their path shaking in fear. Using their paranormal expertise, advanced scientific equipment, and a network of specialists, including a team of psychic mediums, the duo search for evidence and answers as to who or what is wreaking such havoc on the living. Jack says, quote, "This is creepy AF new season, twisted and wildly unexpected. The locations were bottled up with activity that hit us almost immediately. The vibes were dark and tense, and there were many times when I was seriously scared of what we might encounter." End quote. Katrina added, quote, "These places had intense energy you could feel the minute you walked in. Just being inside some of these buildings elicited an unexplainable physical discomfort. So many of the locations this season are just eerie and unnerving." End quote. Spoiler alert, in the season opener, Jack and Katrina traveled to Newcastle, Pennsylvania, home to Hillview Manor, a shuttered nursing home from where former patients are rumored to live on after death. The sprawling complex has almost as many spirits as it does rooms. Constant reports of scratching, chronic dizziness, and shadow apparitions have turned the building's new owner, Carrie, from a paranormal skeptic into a full-blown believer. With her original plans to turn the property into condos no longer viable, she is hoping Jack and Katrina can figure out exactly what is going on with Hillview's walls. But to get to the bottom of what's feeding the manor's dark forces, the duo will first have to face the Creeper, a malevolent shadow creature bent on scaring the living hell out of its victims.
That's awesome.
I know, it sounds super exciting.
So that was on April 9th. And I'm pretty sure that's like the day after, or maybe 2 days. I'm sorry, I keep saying after. it's like a day or two before this is actually going to come out. So that's why we did this. We kind of wanted to put it out. We wanted to do this show before, but we weren't actually sure if it was going to come back out. It was like on this, I don't know, because of the COVID. I don't know what happened. We were watching it, and then it was like COVID hit it.
It was a very long break in between seasons, and I kept looking it up. I'm like, oh, when's it going to come back out? And this, that, and I could never really find anything. And then all of a sudden, it was like, hey, here it is.
Yeah, then it got renewed. I mean, out of nowhere too. I don't even remember how we found it. I think we were constantly checking it because we really do love this show.
Yeah.
So it's finally coming back out.
Super excited.
Very excited.
Yes.
So I think it's about that time.
I think so too.
Is it real?
So, Megan, what do you think?
Yes.
Is it real? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Man, you jumped right into that.
I did. I enjoy so much the fact that they will go in somewhere and, they will say, oh, there wasn't really much here. And they'll go back, if they did hear like a little bump in the night. But I mean, and they'll tell them like, hey, I really don't think, your place could be haunted or there wasn't any activity for us. And I like how, especially on certain episodes, they'll like bring crew members in or employees of the places and sit them down and listen to their stories, and they're incorporated in the show. And I think that adds a layer of validity to the show. So yes, absolutely.
Cool, man.
What about you?
I thought about this before we recorded, and I'm going to say yes, but I'm also going to say, because it's a television show, I still don't think they're safe from the same stuff every other show has to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, unlike other shows, however, I think more of this one is real than the other one. So like where I had said like 50-50 and stuff before, I'm going to go way higher and be like 80-20.
Oh, okay.
Because no TV show will ever not fall victim to the you have to find evidence thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just never going to happen. And they're no different. But I don't know. The fact that they have episodes where they don't find anything, it speaks volumes to me. To other people, it might not seem like a big deal. But if you really look at it, the overall thing, it's a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you show up and nothing happens, but then you show up on occasion and a lot of stuff happens, it just makes it feel more real. So as far as I know, I haven't really been able to pick out anything that seems suspicious in any way. They just seem like they're investigating. So yeah, I'm going to give it the seal of approval. I think this is a good one.
Stamp of approval.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great show. If you're out there, you haven't seen this, watch it. If you love paranormal, you'll like it, especially if you're in our age range, dude, and you watch the Osbournes and stuff like that. And you know how.
And I remember thinking when this show came out, like, oh, Jack is like a lead, like paranormal investigator. I was like, what? And it took a minute to get used to his style, but it changes over the seasons.
Well, I think what's funny is he's a big old scaredy cat.
Exactly.
He reminds me of like network television Sean Foreman.
Yes.
Where he's scared of a lot of stuff, but he'll do it.
Yeah.
But he's very scared.
Yes.
I think there was even one, I don't remember what episode it was, and she was like, we got to go back in. He's like, no, I'll stay out here and you can go back in.
He's like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah. It was like the mansion or one of the mansions or something. Might have been that Lolori one. I'm not sure. But yeah. So that's the call. We're saying it's real.
Portals to Hell.
Portals to Hell. So where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram at @forthebooze_podcast and on Facebook For the Booze.
And on the Twitter at For the Booze. Also, if you're a listener and you like the show and you'd like to be a part of it, send us in your stories. You can record your voice telling it. You can write it into us. You can set it on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, email. It doesn't matter. You can just send it. And along with that, you don't have a story. That's fine. Send in a location or maybe a show we've never heard of, or a channel we've never heard of, or maybe a documentary we haven't seen. Yeah. Anything.
Listener suggestions are always welcome.
Absolutely. We encourage it.
Yes.
We encourage your bad behavior. Yeah, so I'm trying to think. I don't think I have much else to say. Nope, that's it.
Okay.
So
sounds good to me. I mean, again, this is just one of our favorites, and I'm so glad we were able to finally do an episode and link it up so
absolutely.
well.
And so it's going to be another one. So get out there and watch the show and give them the support they deserve.